I've recently returned from an absolutely epic trip to the Lofoten Islands in northern Norway. Before I even set off, I knew that there was one photograph that I was definitely going to get. This one. Do an image search of the Lofoten Islands and you're going to see different versions of this exact scene. Some with pristine sunshine like mine, others that look a little bit more moody and snowy, and maybe others with the northern lights on display over the top. It really is the iconic shot of the area. But why, when this photograph has been done so many times before by other photographers, are we still compelled to get this shot for ourselves? Surely it would be much more productive to find photographs that are individual to us and stand out because of their uniqueness. In this video, I want to share with you 3 reasons why I think that we are compelled to copy off other photographers, and 3 ways in which we can maybe move away from that ever so slightly to become more confident in producing photographs for ourselves that stand out because they are different to everybody else's. The first reason why we're inclined to stand in exactly the same position as many other photographers before us and photograph exactly the same view is to prove that we've been there. It's our own little slice of the action. That's exactly why I wanted to make this photograph, to show to myself and to everybody else that I share this photograph with that I have been to the Lofoten Islands. And because it's such a recognisable view, then other people are going to think, oh wow, I wish I could go and photograph that too. The second reason why we're compelled to copy off other photographers is for some kind of personal recognition. If we see other photographs that are really good, we're often inclined to go back to that exact spot to try and recreate the goodness of that photograph, to try and prove to ourselves somehow that we are capable of getting good shots. The third reason for recreating the same photograph as others, I think, is a bit more of a selfish one. We see all of these different versions of the same photograph and we think, maybe I could do better. So we go in search of these iconic sites to put our own imprint on the view, to try and do it in our own way and maybe help our photographs to stand out above everybody else's. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with going out to recreate the same photograph as other people. In fact, it can be a learning curve as we start to realise what makes a photograph look good and how other people have used various different aspects of photography, such as light, composition and camera settings, to do that view justice. But I think that we need to be careful. The more we get into the habit of going to those iconic viewpoints and copying off what other photographers have done before, the more we get stuck in that repetitive cycle of not really doing anything for ourselves. We're always constantly relying on others to choose what we photograph. So here are my 3 ways in which we can boost our confidence in being more unique with our photo selections. And instead of our pictures standing out because they are trying to be better than everybody else's, they stand out because they are unique to us. Firstly, we need a good grasp of the fundamentals of photography. It can be really easy to copy off somebody else's camera settings and composition and know that it works, but we need to have a grasp of how those things work for ourselves. How light interacts with our subject, how composition can lead our eye and create depth, and how our camera settings can alter depth of field, movement and exposure. The more understanding we have of these idiosyncrasies and fundamentals of photography, the more we can put them into practice when we need them. And no matter what viewpoint you find, whether it's unique to you or somebody else's, you're going to have a good idea of how these things work together to make our photographs as aesthetically pleasing as possible. Secondly, we have to consider our audience, who we intend to share our photographs with. This is another one of my favourite shots from my trip. However, I know that if I was to upload both of these photographs to social media separately, the iconic shot would get far more likes than the one that I personally like better. Not only is it an iconic shot, so the social media algorithm's going to latch onto that and push it to more people, but the people that recognise it in the first place are going to think, oh, I like that because I've seen it before. What I've got to realise is that it doesn't mean that my individual shot that I personally like better isn't any good. It just means that it isn't necessarily meant for that vast social media market where conformity and repetition is the order of the day. What I need to do is find a more niche audience for my picture, where I know the people that I'm attracting are going to like it and appreciate it in the same way that I do. So I could potentially upload it to a group where it's all about minimalism or red cabins. I'm sure there's one out there somewhere. I think we can often get lost in trying to make too many people like our photographs. At the end of the day, if we can find that niche, then we're going to get far much more useful recognition of our photographs rather than going for that mass market adoration. Thirdly, we need confidence in ourselves to do our own thing. A common trait of photographers is that we are self-deprecating. We're always trying to pick up on faults within our own photographs, thinking that we can always do better, that what we've done before just isn't good enough. I think that we have to go through steps 1 and 2 before we can achieve step 3. By having a good grasp of the fundamentals and finding an audience that's appreciating our photographs can go a long way to boosting our confidence. But I think another common mistake that us photographers make is that we're constantly gauging our work against that of other people. And that brings us full circle to copying off other people's photographs. We think that if they've done a good job, then surely we can do a good job too. But that's detrimental when it comes to making our own photographs, because we're never confident enough to go our own way. So daring to be individual, to go out and get the photographs that you want, is the first step towards building your confidence. The more that we compare our work to our own from the past, rather than bringing in influences from others, the more we can be realistic with our own goals and aspirations. If you look at the photographs that you were taking 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I can guarantee that the photographs that you're taking now are better than those photographs, because you've moved on, you've learnt more, you've added more tools to your photography kit bag. In photography, we're all on our own journeys. So therefore, trying to compare yourself to somebody who might have more experience than you, or have been taking photographs for longer than you, then you're not really going to gauge your own progression. What you need to do is look back at your own work and use that as a benchmark. Competing against others will always make you feel less worthy as a photographer. Competing against yourself only means that you can move in a positive direction. I want to finish off by looking at 3 iconic photographers. David Bailey, the influential British fashion photographer. Ansel Adams, the godfather of landscape photography, and Henri Cartier-Bresson, the first master of street photography. Looking at their photographs, they all had 3 things in common. Firstly, they all had a good grasp of the fundamentals. They knew what made an excellent photograph. Secondly, they all knew their audience. They had people in mind when they were making their photographs that they knew were going to appreciate what they were making. And thirdly, they all dared to be different. They all pushed the boundaries of their genres of photography in order to create a different style that was unique to them. The reason that they're household names today isn't because they copied off everybody else and stuck with the norms. They did their own thing, and they were very good at it. There's nothing wrong with photographing the same view as everybody else to put your own imprint and a stamp on it. But next time you're at an iconic viewpoint, have a look around. Ask yourself, what could I do differently here? You never know, it might push your photography in a direction that you weren't expecting. And as long as you have a good grasp of the fundamentals and that you find an audience for that photograph, your confidence is going to skyrocket, and who knows what the future holds. If you want to see more of my photographs from my Lofoten trip, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to share a vlog in the not too distant future of my trip. If you've enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, and if you want to take your learning further, then make sure that you watch this video next.